So Lauren, I know that more than anybody else in this cast, you're an avid TikTok user, and I know that you're you're sort of figuring out how to interact with the various communities on TikTok. So tell us a little bit about that, and does TikTok help you as a narrator, connect you to other narrators, to authors? How is it? How is TikTok helping you?
Yeah, so my me figuring out social media is throwing spaghetti at a wall, seeing what sticks. It's kind
Hmm.
of trying different things to get there. And I connect with narrators, I connect with authors, and and with readers is also a goal, but just connecting with people, interacting with people. And the fun thing about TikTok is there's a lot of everything, and that's who I help with my makeup.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic! All right, and those of you who would like to follow Lauren on TikTok, what is your? It is in the video description, but what is your TikTok handle?
Lauren Rodriguez, VO.
All right, the chat wants to know what your favorite genre to narrate is.
I like young adult and new adult.
And for those who don't know, what is the differentiator between those two groups?
Young adult, I believe, is like between 15 and 18. And it can go a little lower sometimes, but then you start to getting into middle grade.
Hmm.
New adult is 18, but not quite romance. There's a little bit of steam in it, but it's still not. It isn't always spicy. It's like everything is new, everything is experimental and exploratory, but still nice and energetic.
Nice. What is it about those genres that you like so much?
I just love living in that headspace of like, this is new, like we're experiencing new things. A lot of curiosity and a lot of like they don't know their limits yet and they're exploring their limits when it comes to like adventure and fighting. I do a lot of demon fightings and two of my series that I'm currently working on, it's just like you really don't know where the limit is.
Oh, neat. Oh, that sounds like a lot of fun. What's a genre that you haven't done that you would want to get into?
Oh gosh, I haven't done.
I know you've done a lot of genres, but is there something
Well,
out there
I
that
think
you
there's
haven't
like
explored
a
yet?
lot of some subgenres that I
Hmm.
have done because like I've done sci-fi, I've done horror, I've done paranormal, fantasy. Oh gosh, I guess I haven't really done any nonfiction yet, and I guess that would be cool to do one, depending on the topic, of course.
Yeah, sure.
Nonfiction
Yes,
can be a lot.
yes, yeah. That is, yeah. Nonfiction is like it often gets talked as if it's one thing, but it is not
It is
one
definitely
thing.
not.
No, it is, as you said, July,
Hmm.
and you are coming to us from the cool and breezy state of Texas. For those of you who are not narrators, um, it gets a little hot in these booths, especially because most of us, I don't know if this is true for you, most of us can't have an air conditioner going because the mic would pick it up and it wouldn't sound great. So what is summer like for you? Like, how do you as a narrator handle still doing the work that you have to do while being in that heat and that environment?
Um, I am a professional night owl, so I do a lot of my recording at night, which helps with the heat.
Yeah.
I
Gotta do it.
actually tried to flip my schedule recently, and I realized being in here in the middle of the day is not fun.
Yeah.
That and breaks and ice packs, and sometimes working in my running gear, which is sports bra and tiny shorts.
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do. The chat is sympathizing with you. Matthew in the chat is saying it's 100 degrees where they are.
Yeah,
So
same.
yeah, yeah. So I know that in school, I know that you studied music and theater, right?
Yes.
So how do you bring that training and experience as a musical theater performer? How do you how does that inform your narration? Because like it's because we have the microphone right up here, right? So it's in some ways it's very different from the musical theater needing to just blast out to the back of the house sort of vibe. So how do you bring what do you bring from your musical theater background that you find useful in your narration?
Um, what I bring is, of course, the acting, and
Yes.
also,
Yes.
interestingly enough, like working with a microphone, even if it is singing and still projecting,
Mm-hmm.
you learn the mechanics of the microphone. So like distance, and with that, it really is just honing in that little click to be like, okay, and now we're here with a microphone.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Nice. Nice. The chat would like to know what got you into narrating.
Short answer is a quarter life crisis.
Well, we got some time. What's the long answer?
Long answer is uh, moving out to Los Angeles with my bachelor's in theater.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing I wanted to live out in Los Angeles, I got a job in reality TV. Started like just with clerk work, but then
Mm-hmm.
worked my way up into post production as an assistant editor, and I was an assistant editor for years. And sitting in a edit bay, not unsimilar to this, where you're here with your computer, you're working on, Final Cut Pro, Avid, and then there's a microphone right in the corner, kind of pushed back for your scratch VO and all that other things. So like one day I was like, and I work nights.
Yeah.
I'm a professional night owl. So one day just sitting in there being like, I need to do something creative. Editing just didn't feel like it was the right path for me.
Mm-hmm.
And doing scratch VO one day, it's just like, maybe I should check this out. So I went to That's Voiceover Conference. I just looked up one in my area, and was at Warner Brothers that year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, cool, I can go to Warner Brothers for a day.
Yeah.
Like just see what will happen. And one of the panels was on audiobooks, and
Mm-hmm.
a point that gets made year after year is that audiobooks have doubled in sales every year for now 11 years.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's cool. But still not knowing what I wanted to do at that time, I just took basic voiceover lessons until I actually got honed into audiobook narration. And yeah, here I am today.
Right on. Fantastic. Fantastic. What was the path from LA to Texas?
The path was this is where I grew up. This is where my family is. So pre-COVID, I just decided to come back, take a mental break, because I was figuring out narration. I haven't even been doing it for a year yet, I don't think. But I did need a break from reality TV. I was working on some very hard, heavy-hitting shows. The one of them being like a docu-series on like cults and active shooters, and so it's just like, I just
Yikes.
need a break.
Yeah.
Need a break. And then the following year, COVID happened. So my this is temporary turned into, well, let's just see what happens now. And I just haven't left yet.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So do you have you sort of continued with stage acting as well, or are you all behind the mic these days?
I am all behind the mic these days because I haven't adventured beyond anything else after COVID. I'm all like, this is
Yeah.
comfortable. This is nice.
Yeah, it is. It is. It is. You sit in your booth and you have all this lovely stuff. Oh, the chat is asking a very different question. Who is your favorite wrestler and why is it Macho Man? I
Oh,
don't know that it is Macho Man.
I like Macho Man, but I
Okay.
had the opportunity of meeting Chris Jericho while I was working in reality TV. Just he was working on a pilot that was being pitched by a company renting out our space. I'm like, can I say hi? And they're like, yeah, just don't be weird about it. I'm like, okay.
Were you able to successfully not be weird about it?
Yeah.
There's
I mean,
no
like he walked out like talking to somebody, so I'm like, oh crap, I have to be a little weird about it and say like, hey, Chris Jericho, sorry to interrupt, but I was told I could say hi to you.
How was he?
Oh, he was nice. Gotta give him a little hug and yeah.
Nice. Nice. There's now a lot of love for Chris Jericho going on in the chat as well.
Yay!
Yeah, there's a lot of really good storytelling that goes on in wrestling, you know?
Oh yeah.
So sort of looping back to genres, because I know that because you mentioned, you know, you do horror and paranormal and stuff like that. So what is it that draws you to those genres? Because that feels really different from the YA and the New Age stuff. What draws you to that?
I do have some. One of my series I do call like a little horror new adult, paranormal. So I love horror. When I was little, I am the youngest child. My older siblings being twins, boy-girl twins. And they were just old enough where they were allowed to watch me if there was like a 3-day weekend and my parents still had to work. So they would sit me down and have me watch Nightmare on Elm Street and Tim Burton's Batman, which is like Penguin was scary to me at like the age of 5.
Sure. Yes. I mean, no.
Killer
Clowns
from
are scary, and that's a creepy, droopy kind of clown. Yeah.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is creepy when you're 5 years old. Like, it's a comedy, but like finding an appendage in my cotton candy was a real fear of mine.
Spencer's in the chat saying, "Are you afraid of the dark?" Being a gateway horror show for him.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I loved. Creepy Dolls are also was also one that I loved. I know there was an episode on Creepy Dolls on there. He was in the intro, I believe, the little creepy doll. But that's another one that I love. Dead Silence is another horror movie that I love based on creepy dolls. So
is the horror genre really just sort of connecting back to that time for you, or does it feed you now in other ways?
I feel like because I was introduced to it so early, I got desensitized to like, oh, this is scary. I'm like, friends who watch horror with me now, they're like, you just don't react. I look at you when a scary thing pops up and you don't really react. It's like, no, it's so like I'm intrigued by like the scares now more than anything.
Fantastic. What's your favorite horror movie, or among your favorite horror movies? Or books. We should fold them in too.
Okay.
What were your favorite horror stories?
I will basically cover all of those with one.
Yeah.
Not necessarily. Oh yeah, movie, TV series, and book. The Haunting of Hill House.
Oh,
love
strong choice.
All those. And yeah, I will binge watch Hill House on the series once a year.
Fantastic. So speaking of books, is there any book that you would like to send viewers that you'd like to send people to go check out?
Yeah, so a big one that I was shocked to be offered was Aliens Vasquez. And
cool.
I never thought breakfast would make me emotional because I don't necessarily see my culture's breakfast be emphasized the way it did in that book, which is we would save the eggs when we make eggs, and we would turn those into confetti eggs to then crack on each other's heads on Easter. And so to see that represented in a book, I have never seen that before. So it made me emotional to see that presented, and just little things like that that I never realized was missing in what I was consuming. To be then narrating was really nice. And
That's
of course,
really cool.
aliens.
Yeah,
Of course.
of course. That was my horror gateway, was being taken to seeing aliens in the theater when I was far too young to watch it. All right. Well, thank you very much, Lauren, for foregoing your hydration break to sit and chat with us.